Welcome, students. My name is Mr. Little, and today we're going to be doing an SAQ, short answer question, review for AP Social Studies classes. So whether you're in AP Euro, AP World, AP US, this review is for you. In these SAQ reviews, we're going to be using something called the ACE method to answer the SAQ. Now, if you are familiar with the ACE method, if your teacher uses it, great, awesome. If you are not familiar with the ACE method, please pause this video and go ahead and read this handy chart I put here, explaining how the ACE method works. Whether you've just heard about it or this is something you're familiar with, that's okay, because we're going to ace the SAQ. So before we get to the actual review itself, I want to quick go over the two purposes of this review. Purpose number one, to practice writing a short answer question using publicly available released College Board SAQs, all of which are going to be linked in the description below. Second thing, to review content via a broad overview. The great thing about SAQs is they tend to touch on big course themes or big course topics. And so by going through these questions, by thinking them through and brainstorming possible answers to them, it gives us an opportunity to do a little bit of content review. All right, so what do we got here? And it looks like this particular SAQ came from the 2017 AP exam, and it has been slightly modified for this presentation. Now, this corresponds with, as close as can be, Unit 1.1. It looks like we have some sort of painting from a Chinese scroll in the Song Dynasty. Okay, interesting. We'll get more into that in a second. What questions do we have here? Let's see. Explain one way in which the interaction depicted in the image represents a continuity in Chinese imperial history. Okay. Explain one way in which the interactions between Imperial China and Central Asian nomads changed after 1200 CE. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Looking at this image and the questions, what are some of my first impressions? What are the things I'm thinking of? Well, the first thing about the questions I've noticed is they're asking about change and continuity. So this is a CCOT SAQ. It's asking about change and continuity. I'm also noticing right away that this is a very finely painted scroll, which means this was probably created for someone of a higher position, of a higher rank, because this sort of artistic skill would have been something you'd have to pay for, and only the upper class might have had access to. In terms of the picture itself, there's a clear distinction between the nomads on the right side of the painting and this Chinese individual who apparently is a general meeting with Uyghur nomads. And so perhaps this is a surrender ceremony. I mean, it does look as though the nomads are kowtowing to the general. We know the kowtow is really important in Chinese imperial culture. So that's interesting right there. And I'm also remembering that the Chinese imperial culture saw itself as the center of the world. China was known as the Middle Kingdom or the Celestial Kingdom, the center of the earth. And so it had a very low opinion of nomads, and oftentimes would depict nomads in very negative light in its paintings or its scrolls. And honestly, this main nomad here sort of looks like he has a bit of a mischievous, a sinister look on his face. So that might play into it as well. Pause this video and take about 3 minutes and see if you can brainstorm some answers. It's always critical when you're doing a writing assessment to take at least some time to do just a little bit of brainstorming before you start writing. Remember, plan more, write less. So after brainstorming a few possible responses to each of these individual questions, this is what I've come up with, and maybe you came up with some of the same stuff. So in terms of a continuity in Chinese imperial history, a few ideas that came to mind as it relates to this scroll would be the Chinese tribute system, which was in effect China getting acknowledgements from other societies, mostly the settled places of East Asia, such as Japan, Korea, and Vietnam, as well as Southeast Asia, acknowledgements of the superiority of the Chinese emperor. So that could be what was going on in the painting. We also might be seeing the continued role of nomads as promoters of exchange between China and the rest of the world, nomads being those that brought luxury goods from the West to China. So could be that. Nomads sometimes also served in the imperial army as mercenaries, so that could also be here. They're also, with the kowtow in particular, we could talk about how this is a continuation of Confucian values and how Confucian values were held up by the court to be very, very important. So those are possible continuities. In terms of a change, I noticed that it says Central Asian nomads. Now, while there are many groups of Central Asian nomads, such as the Uyghurs, which are no longer officially mentioned in the course description, the only other nomads that are mentioned by name in the course description are the Mongols. And so the Mongol conquest of China happens after 1200. And so I feel like that's a pretty big slam dunk for this particular question. However, you could also talk about how the tributary system was ended by the Qing dynasty, which conquered Central Asia by force in the 1640s after they had subdued central China. So these are all possible answers that could work. All right, now you are going to attempt to write an SAQ. So pause this video, go set a timer for 15 minutes, and then come on back, and you can compare what you wrote to the ACE answers that I'm going to provide. Now, I want to be really clear here that there are many different ways to answer this SAQ. And so if you didn't write the exact same thing that I wrote, that's okay. That's not a big deal. Alrighty, so here is the answer to each of those questions I've come up with using the ACE answer cite explain method, and I've color coded it. As you can see, the color code up here corresponds to the answer. So the first question, in terms of a continuity in Chinese political culture, I chose to focus on Confucian values. And in my explanation, I've pointed out that the ethics of Confucian values have been central to Chinese dynasties since the Han Dynasty. And the kowtow of the nomads, as can be seen in this particular painting, represents a continuity of these Confucian values into the Tang Dynasty and into the Song Dynasty, who had created this particular scroll. In terms of the change, I decided to go for the slam dunk and talk about the Mongols. And specifically, I've talked about how Mongol military tactics, such as psychological terror, and the use of gunpowder, which the Mongols did use, made it possible for them to conquer China, something that no nomadic group from Central Asia had ever been able to do before. That is, conquer all of China. They had conquered parts of China, but never all of China. And so this is a fundamental change in the relationship between the nomads of Central Asia and the Chinese heartland. Alrighty, and that is a wrap for this particular SAQ review, but I'm going to encourage you to take some time, go back perhaps, and try writing a different answer using a different one of those ideas we brainstormed as possible answers. And take the ACE method, go practice with another SAQ. Keep practicing, keep reviewing. Thanks for joining me. I'm Mr. Little, and I'll see you next time.